Oh man, that is such a sick panel. I should really try drawing something like that next time Ah! Oh no, I completely forgot to upload something to my YouTube channel! I need to upload something now and fast! Oh yeah, I remember working on this before I scrapped it. Wonder if it's any good. Hello? You know what I've been feeling lately? Limited. These small and/or big videos describing something I may or may not have some kind of interest in can't be all this channel has going for it. So, we're entering the world of ranking videos. Again. Because, frankly, I deserve to share some shitty opinions, damn it! And I know just where to start. Just let me get my VO voice ready for this. I got this. 3, 2, 1. There still isn't a lot known about the Black organization or what their goals are, but they still serve as a great antagonistic threat in the story whenever they make an appearance. I mean, last year's chapters with Rum, Camel, and Wakasa were my favorite standalone cases of that year, which I consider pretty high praise since all of 2025's Conan manga material was really good. And that's because of the glue that holds this group together. Its members. There have only been 14 members with codenames introduced in the main story, but they've done more than enough to make their presence known to the readers, and unknown to the world they reside in. But as I'll demonstrate in this ranking video, not all of them are equals. I will have to make a few exceptions though. I won't be including any of the organization members that weren't given a codename, like Akemi, but if I did, she'd be at the top of the ranking by default considering her death was the true beginning of the BO's downfall. And I won't be talking about any of the original members from the spin-off Detective Conan special manga, or the movie originals, only because none of them have ever been used in the main manga canon. As of writing this, I was going to include Sherry and Rai, but even I feel like this video is beneath both of them. And because both of them have left the organization, so... And finally, Karasuma will not be included because if he was, he'd be at the bottom. Aside from what we're told about him, he's the least interesting as a standalone character, if you can really call him one yet. At the very bottom, we have Karasuma. We have Calvados. This dude was introduced in the 6-chapter-long Night of the Full Moon and Deadly Banquet case, where he serves as Vermouth's backup as she tries and ultimately fails to kill Hybra, gets his legs broken by a Kai, and ends up shooting himself in the head. Okay, I don't have anything else to say. That's it for Calvados. I can't really think of anything I can name about this guy other than the fact that he had a thing for Vermouth, which led to him joining her on this mission. I think. But that's not much of a trait. His death has no weight in the story apart from making Chianti and Korn more distrustful towards her, which hasn't really impacted anything yet. 700-something chapters later. I gave it some thought, and I've decided that Pisco is a smidge better than Calvados. He has an actual design, so that pretty much makes him better by default. But... I don't know, man. He serves his purpose well in reunion with the Black organization, but he's not too interesting. Probably because he dies in the very case he was introduced in. I've settled on placing Scotch at number 10. I don't particularly dislike Hiromitsu, especially not after reading through the Wild Police story spin-off. It has been a while since I finished it, but I have to commend it for giving all 5 of these former policemen their time in the spotlight. Seeing them bond in the Force was the highlight of the manga, and I really enjoyed it. I like Hiromitsu Morofushi, but his time as Scotch is ultimately less interesting than what he's done in the past that's shown in the spin-off. If it weren't for these two, I don't think Korn would be any higher than this. He isn't the most interesting guy in the organization, but he's ranked higher than Calvados, Pisco, and Scotch mainly because of his design, and the fact that we see him doing his job for more than one case. Not sure if anyone would expect this placement, but yeah, Vodka's at rank 8. As much as I like him being an OG representative of the organization, even I have to admit he doesn't have the most going for him. But I'll be real, no matter what era he's in, I love him in every style. Okay, almost every style. Ew. Do you want to know how interesting I think Kier is? Well, she's so good that I completely forgot to write her section until right now where I'm currently rectifying that mistake. As much as I am a big Kier arc stan, I can't lie and say that she's the most interesting on her own. Not helped by the fact that her first appearance literally ends with her crashing and getting hospitalized, while the rest of her arc revolves around her little brother and his possible ties to the organization. That said, she is an undercover CIA agent who's managed to keep her cover up and has helped Conan fake Akai's death, as well as relaying not 1, but 2 incoming members. I think somewhere in the middle is a good spot for Hitomi. I was originally gonna put Chianti in 8th, but I thought more about it and I ranked her higher than Vodka. Back when I got to the cases she was included in, I wouldn't have said she was too interesting, if we ignore her sick-ass design, her desire for bloodshed, and her resentment towards vermouth. But after reading Chianti's Last Supper, my opinion on her has shifted just a little bit. I recommend giving this one a read if you haven't already. Plus, it's written by Gosho Oyama like Wild Police Story, so it's definitely canon in my eyes, even if it makes very little difference to the overall story. The wildest thing that happens in this short story is learning that Chianti is a hardcore foodie. And she kills a man. Boichi did an amazing job as the main artist behind Oyama's script, but it sucks that I kinda can't show a lot of the panels because I don't want this video to get taken down if I show the amount of fan service the creator of Dr. Stone drew for this story. So I'll sum it up briefly.
Oh my god.
So I've placed Tequila at 5. That might be a bit high considering how he's dead like Calvados and has even less screen time than Calvados. I'm not kidding. Compared to the amount of pages where we're fully aware of Calvados' existence during the night of the full moon banquet, up until his death, Tequila has only been shown alive for a total of 7 pages. So why is he ranked so much higher than Calvados? It's because unlike him, Tequila is still remembered as a semi-important figure to this day, thanks to his involvement in getting Masawa Takara to continue working on an abandoned program for the organization. I mean, his last and recent appearance in the manga was last year! I also just like what Tequila accomplished with his first appearance at the Nintendo exhibition. His entire character here is to just show up and die, pissing off Conan, and by extension the readers, at the exact same time. This period of the manga was already completely dry of any kind of traces to the Black Organization, and he really didn't help much in dying the very second he entered the story as a confirmed Man in Black. And looking back, while it probably bewildered me as I read this particular case, I've come to absolutely love how insane this set of events is, along with the man who trolled me and probably many other fans in the 90s and onward. Rum has what is currently the longest running arc in all of Detective Conan, and being the central focus of said arc, he hasn't shown up a lot, has he? Despite that, I think he's handled really well, especially after his reveal. I already knew who Rum was, thanks to me owning a copy of Volume 100 and thinking it was a good idea to flip through the contents. Well, in spite of that, I was at least able to appreciate his time as Kananori Wakita. He's a pretty good persona for Rum to hide behind, especially since his persona's workplace is directly located near who he seems to suspect as an enemy. After the events of his recent case, I'm left wondering if he's retiring Wakita for good, or if he'll come back. He obviously suspects Kokuro's out to take the organization down, given his weird involvement in one of their failed missions. It's pretty clear that Rum has tunnel vision to some extent. Even after suspecting Conan as more than an ordinary schoolboy, he couldn't even figure out who Subaru was talking to even after fleeing the scene. So I wouldn't be surprised if he just forgot about Kogoro. He's seemingly forgotten about seeing a little girl who looks suspiciously similar to a scientist who had been reported as dead after a very long chase. So it's possible. Hybera is literally the final piece to the puzzle Rum is trying to piece together after discovering that Mary Sarah is still alive, and he just forgot about her. The organization's second in command, ladies and gentlemen! No, but seriously, that's what makes him interesting to watch, because I am bracing myself for the moment that he completes the puzzle with the pieces that have been laid out in front of him. I will say that maybe the front fake teeth were a little too much. Just a little. Bourbon's been a huge part of Detective Conan ever since his debut appearance, that it's kinda weird to think that there was a time where he just hadn't existed for over 18 years since the manga first began. I really like Amuro and what he's brought to the series as the second character who has and still lives a triple life of a BO member, a PSB officer, and a cafe waiter. He's also posing as an apprentice of Kokoro, so would that make this a quadruple life? Furuya is pretty much what Rena could have been if that crash never happened. I enjoyed the time spent basking in the uncertainty of his allegiance, since he gets to be an active part of that mystery, whereas the other one executed this through a family member, which Amuro doesn't have aside from his police academy friends. And they're all dead. He hasn't really done anything since discovering Conan is the deceased Shinichi Kudo, yet I'm anxious to see what he does with that information. I'm hoping he can put his feelings aside because he needs to join forces with Akai now more than ever if he really wants to take the organization down. Our residents occupying 1 and 2 might not have the most going for them, but they're at the very least fun to watch as they go around doing whatever. This very much applies to Vermouth, who can go anywhere she wants and do whatever she wants, and there's usually nothing that can stop her. The way she could just beef with both sides of the battle can sometimes create interactions that get a little chuckle out of me. but ever since she went one-on-one with Conan, she's started to move to the side, her proper appearances being few and far between. Partially because Aoyama's went on record saying that Vermouth's his least favorite character to draw because anytime he does include her, his perfectionism kicks in. Okay, so I kinda got that wrong. Aoyama finds all the organization members hard to draw, but he does single out Vermouth, so it still kind of applies. Her more sparse appearances since then is what keeps her interesting in my opinion. Any case can go from 0 to 100 if it turned out Vermouth was disguised as someone during it, either to get information from Conan or being on an errand for that person. And unlike most other organization members, especially those who have more than one appearance, I can easily remember every case that Vermouth has ever appeared in. Honestly, who did you think was going to sit at the top spot of this damn organization? Jin is still the single best codenamed member of the organization here, where knowing absolutely nothing about a member can be a detriment to their overall enjoyment. Knowing absolutely nothing about Jin is something that elevates his character for me. Jin is a freak of nature that can't ever be stopped, not by Conan or the police. Not even his own allies can stop him. If you even try to slow this motherfucker down, he'll just brute force his way to victory even if it means injuring himself. He climbed down a chimney right after shooting himself in the arm. The enjoyment I get out of Jin, despite knowing nothing about him, other than the fact that he's left-handed, can be attributed to his number of appearances. Out of all the organization members listed here in this video, not counting Sherry, Rai, or any of the other non-pure organization members, Jin has the most appearances of them all. To be fair, Vodka does share that number of appearances, but that's because wherever Jin goes, he follows. It's kind of funny how the only way Vodka can get even higher in the ranking past 8 is through Jin. With Rum in the picture after the reveal, I can see Jin not being needed as much, since Rum is in a higher position of power, making him the closest this organization will get to a face until Karasuma comes in properly. But I would still like to keep seeing Jin. The guy's been MIA ever since the Rum reveal, so who knows what that fucker's up to. This is all my way of saying that I love Jin. 108 volumes and 1,166 chapters later, you are still the best. Jin, well done, man. Well done. This is my final ranking of every member still within the organization. What started out as 2 men making a deal with a bald man while drugging a nosy teenager has evolved into this endless rabbit hole of a syndicate with an unknown amount of money and people on board. Introducing snipers, men with hairy hands, a scientist who betrays them, an old man who dies, an American actress, an agent from the CIA, 2 PSB agents, the second in command, and of course, a much less older guy who only exists to die and impact nothing. I give those lower ones shit, but putting that aside, they're all a part of what I consider to be the best part of Detective Conan. Which is saying a lot because there's a lot of great stuff here already, and none of it would be possible without the syndicate who just happened to test their latest revision of Apotoxin 4869 on the worst kind of person to have as an enemy, an apprentice of Holmes himself. Honestly, Jin didn't even need to poison Shinichi. Every panel I've seen of this scene, from chapter 1 and early flashbacks to the Night of the Living Conan, all panels of Shinichi's head post-bludgeon is drawn with a fuck ton of blood trickling down his head, being enough to make what I assume is a puddle of blood. I'm not going crazy, that has to be blood, and that has to be enough to kill someone, right? When Kudo immediately awakens after the drug has taken full effect, the worst he feels is a minor headache that's practically gone for the rest of the night. This isn't the only time this has happened. Hybera suffered multiple bullet wounds from her encounter with Jin and came out of it alive with a crutch and a patch on her cheek. Mary Sarah was sent falling from a bridge and came back to her daughter just fine minus the shrinking. The falling off the bridge part was more self-inflicted, but you get what I mean. This is all your fault, Jin. If you had kept the murder weapon on you and left without pulling out that pill because you and Vodka were on your way out anyways, you wouldn't be looking down the barrel of your consequences. Yeah, I am not uploading this. I wasn't even pronouncing half of the names correctly. Thanks for watching. I spent a bit of time on this one and I still feel like I was grasping at nothing for some of those guys. That last section shouldn't be taken too seriously, but I wouldn't mind being corrected in the comments if I'm wrong about any of that. Genuinely, I would like to know if I was right or wrong, so please comment. And if I may shed some light on this post, I'll only be able to do one of these videos because one script isn't even finished and I decided against making this a whole series. Thanks to Viz finally translating all those missing chapters, rendering my shortening Conan video useless. Or is it? Until then, I'll be constructing some scripts, and for the love of Kurasama, don't let me promise anything ever again. I just can't commit. Anyway, bye.